Hey guys, it's JP, and today we are going to go over 5 simple ways to train the quads at home. I'm continuing this series of ways to train your muscles at home so you can continue to work on your body so you can run faster and longer. Now, let's get into the video. Despite being unable to access gyms, runners should still incorporate exercises that target the quads. Keeping these muscles strong are important as the quads are heavily involved in running. As I mentioned before, they are involved in absorbing forces and providing stability as the foot hits the ground, as well as improving force output when you push off the ground. By continuing to work on these muscles, this will better prepare your body for the demands of running. Now, the most foundational and staple exercise to work on the quads is through the squat. However, you may find it hard to load these muscles since you may not have weights at home. Despite this, there are actually plenty of other ways to challenge these muscles. Now, I will be going over ways to further increase the difficulty of the squat so you can better train the quads for running. The first way is to add external resistance. This is probably one of the most straightforward ways to further challenge yourself. Now, this does not have to be through a kettlebell as you see here, but rather any weighted object that you can safely hold. This can include holding a backpack filled with books, a bag of rice, or a grocery bag filled with items. By increasing weight of what you are holding, this will increase the demands required from the muscles to help you get up and down. Another way to further challenge these muscles is by simply getting lower. By increasing your squat depth, this increases demands on the muscles. However, what I will also mention is to be aware of any compensations that may occur as you lower further. A typical compensation is to excessively lean forward from the trunk. Doing so actually takes away loads from the quads and puts it more into the hips. So a good cue to follow as you try this strategy is to try to keep your trunk upright. You will still naturally lean forward a little as you go further down, but you will definitely notice the quads working more. The third way to further challenge yourself is to change the tempo of the squat. You can do this by slowing down the descent of the body, as well as increasing the speed of it as it rises up. The reason for this is because the quads work eccentrically during the descent. To further challenge a muscle working eccentrically, you want to slow down the movement. Then during the ascent, it is working more concentrically. To further challenge that, you do the opposite and speed up the movement coming up. A fourth way to increase demands of the quads is to perform the squats continuously. Let me try to explain what I mean. People tend to pause during different portions of the squat, such as at the bottom position and the top position. By taking away these pauses and working continuously through the repetitions, this will increase metabolic demands. You may actually feel more of a burn in the quads when performing squats in this manner. The final way you can really challenge the quads through the squat is incorporating another variation of it. To give you practical ways to do this, I will go over some simple variations of the squat. The first variation I will go over here is the split squat. This incorporates more strength and coordination demands on the quads of the front leg. To do this one, start in a staggered position like so. As you perform the exercise, try to keep the trunk upright. Doing so will bias more of the quads rather than the hips during this specific movement. Also, remember that most of the weight should be on the front leg. This will be the leg that gets challenged the most from this exercise. Due to this, remember to perform the exercise on both sides. Anyway, once in position, slowly lower down. As you lower, try to keep the knee from collapsing inward. This will focus the exercise on working on the muscles rather than relying on the passive structures like the ligaments. Then, return to starting position, and you can repeat the exercise. The second variation I will go over is the Bulgarian split squat. This is an advanced variation of the previous exercise for more of a challenge. The difference with this one is that the support foot needs to be on an elevated surface. Remember that the purpose of this leg should really only be for balance and not much weight should be going through it. Most of the weight should be going through the front leg as this will be the leg where the quads are really working. Anyway, the cues are similar to the split squat, so I'll just briefly go over them here. Make sure to keep the trunk upright, then maintain control as you lower straight down. Now as you lower, try to keep the knee from collapsing in to really work on the muscles of the front leg. Then, return to starting position and you can repeat the exercise. And those are 2 simple variations you can try. Remember that you can apply the other 4 methods to make the squat harder to these variations as well to really challenge the quads. And those are 5 ways to further train the quads at home to further improve the way you run. I hope you guys found this video useful. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And as always, thank you for watching.